Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Get there fast. Leave even faster.
Welcome to Milwaukee, where tailgating is a tradition, even in this new ballpark at Miller Park. Blue Jays and Brewers set to wrap up their season series. 2 games here in Milwaukee. The Blue Jays won last night 4-3. Got a great pitching performance from the bullpen, ramped up by the Osuna save. Number 7. Let's take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons' Blue Jays. Jays are 6 games under 500, 20-26. Kevin Pillar in the top of the order. Devin Travis moves up to the 2 spot. He's riding an 8-game hit streak with tremendous numbers. 16 for 32, 8 doubles, a home run, and 8 RBIs during that hit streak. And then back in the cleanup spot, Justin Smoke did not play in last night's game. Over his last 22 games, hitting over 300 with 7 home runs and 19 RBIs. So Smoke is in, Morales is out, at least for the start of this game.
33-year-old right-hander Matt Garza gets the start for the Brewers, making his 6th start of the season. He's been the best starter for Milwaukee this year, pitching to an ERA just under 2.5. He's been good against the Blue Jays in his career, ERA just over 2 in 13 starts. He has not faced the Blue Jays since 2010, back when he was pitching for the Tampa Bay Rays. In his last start at San Diego, he did not factor in the decision, but went 6 innings, allowing just 1 run to the Padres.
Behind Garza, the defense has been pretty good all season long for Milwaukee. They shake it up a bit. Perez is in left. Keon Broxton did not play last night. He's in center field. He's the regular center fielder. Domingo Santana is in right. Sogard and Villar up the middle. Shaw and Thames at the corners. Jet Bambi does the catching this afternoon for Matt Garza.
Bandy making his 25th start behind the plate. He's a big guy, 6'4", 235 pounds. He was acquired in December. Threw out 40% of opposing base stealers last year while playing with the Angels. It's been a nice tandem for Craig Counsell. He and Manny Pena have teamed to hit 7 home runs, 26 RBIs, and they've hit over 290 together.
Kevin Pillar singled in his first at bat in last night's game. He has done a terrific job leading off for the Blue Jays. For the season, batting .306. This will be his first time facing Matt Garza. He steps in the box, and we are ready for action. Garza's 33 years old, originally signed with the Minnesota Twins. He made his first big league start against the Blue Jays. Garza has the sign. Here's the first pitch of the game. Upstairs for a ball, and we are underway. That first major league start came back in 2006. He was pitching for the Minnesota Twins in Minneapolis. He went up against A.J. Burnett, and it didn't go very well. Just 2 2/3 for Garza. He gave up a couple of big hits. Lyle Overbay with a 2-run double in the first, and Reed Johnson and John McDonald both hit home runs. Garza was out after 2 2/3. 2 balls and no strikes to Pillar. There's that hard slider, and Pillar went around it. Fastball for strike 2. Pillar really takes exception to teams playing the shift against him. He thinks that he is a hitter that can hit it from foul line to foul line, and now you see the second baseman Villar moving back over to the right side of the infield. Inside. Joe, this is one of the biggest changes for Kevin Pillar, his patience at the plate.
Laying off pitches out of the zone, and we talked about that a little bit about Devin Travis last night. In the same vein, they're very similar in that regard. Is when they stay on the plate, they're giving themselves a much better chance for success, and Kevin has shown that discipline, and the results have certainly paid off for him.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball, cut on and missed. Garza's got a great slider, but he's got an awful lot of weapons to attack you with.
He does. The fastball will average just under 92 miles per hour. You see that he throws it quite a bit. Curveball, slider, and changeup. We're going to see a lot of fastball slider like we just did right there against right-handers. He'll mix in the changeup more against lefties, and he'll definitely pitch inside. We saw it already to the leadoff hitter Kevin Pillar. He will pound those righties in to set up that breaking ball down and away.
Devin Travis takes that big breaking curveball for a strike. Devin with that 8-game hit streak, hitting exactly .500 over those 8 games.
That pitch is inside, way off the plate. Good two-seam action there from Garza, but we've seen Devin chase pitches in off the plate earlier when he was struggling. I think that's been a big difference from him. He's inched back away from the plate a little bit to give himself a better look.
Drives this one to right. Santana makes the catch. Another hard hit ball by Travis. 2 away. $30,000 in attendance here last night. Another good crowd, and it is raining outside, so thank goodness for the roof here at Miller Park. Jose Bautista, 2 more hits last night, finished up 2 for 3 with a walk and scored a run. First pitch strike, Bautista. He's hit against Garza in the past, 3 for 11 going head to head with him. And changeup missed downstairs, a ball and a strike. We mentioned Garza began his career with the Minnesota Twins. He spent 2 seasons in Minnesota before being dealt to the Tampa Bay Rays. And a lot of success in Tampa, 34 and 31 as a Ray, and Bautista lines it right to the shortstop, Eric Sogard. 3 up, 3 down. Garza off to a good start. When we come back, Marcus Stroman will take the mound against Milwaukee. In the NL Central, top of the order, Jonathan Villar, then Eric Thames. Hernan Perez starts in left field today. Perez has played in left, center, and right over his last 10 games, hitting over 300 with 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run. And Keon Broxton, a regular center fielder, back in the lineup. He's got a mini 5-game hit streak, hitting over 300 during that stretch, and he is manning center field this afternoon. Marcus Stroman set to take on the Brewers.
Marcus making his 10th start of the season. He's now on a 3-game win streak after beating the Braves in that last start. He's now allowed 2 runs or less in 7 of his 9 starts this season, and in that last start in Atlanta, he earned the win going 5 2/3 shutout innings. He walked 1 and struck out 6, 10 ground ball outs, and that's what Marcus does so well, and we'll look for a lot of those today again off the bats of these Brewers hitters.
The Blue Jays really pitched the Brewers tough in last night's game. Just for the 2nd time this season, the Brewers did not have an extra base hit. The only other time, May 2nd at St. Louis, the Cardinals held them without an extra base hit. So this team was shut down very effectively last night. Jonathan Villar, the second baseman. That's on the first pitch. VR finished up the game 1 for 4. Had 3 stolen bases last night. Got his total up to 12. So you got to keep him off the bases. Drummond gets ahead 1-2 now. Joe, last time out, Marcus had a terrific sinking fastball. He really worked down in the strike zone to the Atlanta Braves. Is that his goal today?
I think that's his MO. Every time he steps on the mound, that's what he does best. We'll see him use the breaking balls also. He's got both the curveball, the slider, and the cutter, so a variety of pitches. He really has not used his changeup a whole lot anymore. But that sinking fastball is key because he will also elevate the four-seamer, and I think that's very important to make sure you do change the eye level. But when he's getting a lot of ground ball outs, it's going to be a good day.
Big breaking ball missed inside. Luke Maile was behind the plate in Stroman's last start against the Braves. In fact, Maile and Stroman hit back-to-back home runs in that game. 3-2 to VR. Bouncing ball off Stroman's glove. Goens right near the bag at second makes a nice play. That'll go 1-6-3 in the scorebook. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense. In the outfield, Coghlan, Pilar, and Bautista. Jose goes back to right field. Russell Martin's at third. Goens at short. Travis and Smoke on the right side. Luke Maile making his 15th start of the season behind the plate.
Well, Russ with his 13th career start at third base, his third this season, and his last start before this year was back in 2013 when he made a couple of starts for the Pirates. John Gibbons doing everything that he can to juggle this lineup in the absence of Tulowitzki and Donaldson on the left side of his infield.
Well, the good news sounds like they will both be back Friday for the opener against the Texas Rangers. Eric Thames, he takes that breaking ball outside. It's 2-0. Thames last night had a single. He was 1 for 2. Coghlan moves to his right a bit, makes the catch. Thames is retired. 2 up, 2 down.
Well, Marcus will use a variety of pitches, and that's one thing that he's kind of gone back and forth with over the last couple of years. We haven't seen a whole lot of the changeup anymore, but the slider is a devastating one, and that's where he can get a lot of those strikeouts. He'll also get a lot of ground balls with both breaking pitches, the curveball and the slider, combined with the two-seam fastball. The cut fastball is almost just a mini slider. So many pitchers throw it now, but when Marcus throws it, it'll be about 90, 91 still because his average fastball is going to be close to 94. It's like a mini slider, but he'll use that to get off the barrel of righties and into the hands of lefties.
Hernan Perez hitting third. Brian Braun just came off the disabled list on Sunday, so he is not in the starting lineup. Day game after a night game last night. Perez hitting .310 over his last 10 ball games. Stroman working quickly here in the bottom of the first. Bounced foul.
Quickly in terms of pace, but we'll see all kinds of different deliveries from Marcus Stroman. He starts side saddle on that pitching rubber, and he'll do different things. Sometimes he'll step back with the left foot. Here he comes set. He gets the sign from his catcher, and watch what he does instead of stepping back. He just goes and pitches. And I think Perez fake bunted right there because his timing was off. He was just giving in and taking the pitch all the way.
That's off the end of the bat. Travis has it. Marcus Stroman through the first inning. 3 up, 3 down. No problem at all. 1 in the books here in Milwaukee. No score.
Another day and another injury for the Toronto Blue Jays, who are now at 14 different players on the DL, representing 325 man games. The latest, Anthony Alford. What a night we thought it was. He had his first career hit. But then in the 9th inning, in this 2-1 count, that foul ball, Alford felt and heard a pop. Turns out it's a broken bone in his wrist that's going to derail him for about 6 weeks. We saw him yesterday trying to flex that out. He had an x-ray after the game, and the pictures showed the fracture. Now, Alfred admitted to us, look, I was down last night when I got the word. He's going to go to Toronto, visit with doctors. Ross Atkins said surgery is ahead with a 6-week recovery. Nothing nearly as severe as that serious concussion that derailed most of the 2016 season. But another setback for a young man who was just getting on his way after being called up from AA.
Yeah, that's the tough part, Arash, no doubt about it. Last year in his first game in Florida State League, that's Dwight Smith Jr. has just been recalled. But last year, Anthony hurt his knee in the first game of the season. Then later on, he had a concussion problem. But the hamate bone is quite a common occurrence. It's a very frequent injury. And surgery is required, but what they do is they go in and take out that fractured bone fragment out of the palm of your hand. Basically, it's kind of like right in the fat pad of your hand, bottom of your hand, underneath that little finger. So it's unfortunate, but it is something that's not going to linger. Justin Smoke back in the lineup.
Well, it's really too bad for Anthony, and he'll put that little splint on for now before the surgery, but the hits just keep coming for the Blue Jays, but also for Alford. And he left the game of football, and one would think baseball is a much safer sport. That's what everybody says, but he says by far he's had more injuries in this game.
Smoke now with a 3-0 count. Smoke batting .278 for the season, 10 homers and 29 RBIs. He leads the Blue Jays in both of those categories. He's had quite a run of late over his last 22 games, 7 home runs and 19 ribbies.
And some would think, why not have a green light 3-0, but I'm sure Justin does. He just chose not to swing there. It's a perfect pitch, but first swing of the day, you don't necessarily want to go for it on a 3-0. One thing to hit in the cage. There was no batting practice on the field today, but everybody gets their hacks in the cage. They're ready for the game, but that first swing in the game, you probably want it to be under different circumstances than maybe it not being a perfect one, and perhaps getting underneath something or rolling something over on a 3-0 pitch.
So now it's a 3-2 count. Popped up. Shallow right field. VR, the second baseman, is out there and makes the catch. Well, the Blue Jays currently have 11 players on the disabled list, and it's been a familiar theme all season long. Donaldson and Tulowitzki played last night in Dunedin. They're getting close to returning. Steve Pearce still hasn't played. He's got the calf injury. Alfred just went on. Jay Hamp has thrown a couple of extended innings in spring training. Liriano is here. Had a simulated game yesterday, so he is not that far away, and Aaron Sanchez isn't throwing at all.
And it's not just anyone. There's 3 of your starters from your rotation, the American League's best rotation last year.
Russell Martin goes after the first pitch. VR throws him out. Let's check in with Arash.
Well, Buck, Francisco Liriano will take part in a rehab start on Sunday. It could be with AAA Buffalo, although Ross Atkins said they may try and have it in a more controlled environment. But the GM also said that Jay Happ will have a maximum of 3 rehab starts, and if there are no setbacks, he will return to the team within the next 15 days.
Well, more good news, Arash. That's really good news to hear that about Liriano and Happ. And the interesting thing to remember, the Blue Jays are 6 games under 500, but only 7.5 back in the AL East. So you just got to keep plugging away. Chris Coghlan starting for a second straight day in left field. Takes a first pitch strike.
And part of that is both the Yankees and the Orioles have slowed down, no doubt, and we're going to probably see this division move in that cyclical nature all season long. They tend to beat each other up and go down to the wire.
The Orioles are playing the Twins this afternoon. Minnesota scored 3 in the first and added another in the second, and that's against Chris Tillman. Jose Barrios starting for the Twins, and he's been on some roll since he's rejoined this Twins rotation. Fly ball to center. Broxton backing up. Plenty of room. 3 up, 3 down. Garza off to a good start. 6 up, 6 down. Retired by the big right-hander. Another interleague game, and he has fared very well going up against the National League. You look at his 9 interleague starts, an ERA under 2, opponents hitting under 250, and it seems as though the ability of Stroman to mix up his pitches has played very well against the National League.
Well, that's the one thing. He's got an awful lot of weapons, and Marcus is so confident in all of his pitches. He can use really any pitch in any count. And when you get into interleague play, now you're facing a lot of hitters that really don't have a lot of history with you. And anytime that happens, I always say it's advantage pitcher. We hear hitters all the time. They want data. They want information, having faced pitchers before.
Pretty good looking pitch, and Stroman didn't get the call. It's ball 1. Travis Shaw had his 11-game hit streak snapped last night. He went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Yadi Molina now with the longest active hit streak in the majors. The Cardinals catcher has hit in 12 straight games. Fly ball to left field. Coughlin. Not exactly a perfect route, but he makes the catch. That's all that matters. 4 up, 4 down for Stroman. Marcus Stroman is always talking to himself, always reminding himself about executing the next pitch, making adjustments on the mound. And Joe, he's like having a pitching coach out there in his back pocket.
It sure is. And Russ Martin talked about Marcus in spring training. Number one, what a professional and tremendous athlete that he is. He can do a lot of things on the mound. We see him field his position well, but because he's such a great athlete, that's what allows him to alter his delivery the way he does. I remember talking to Russ about that. He says, why do you think not many pitchers do it? Because they can't. It's very difficult. You have to be a great athlete to control your body the way he does and still execute all these different pitches.
You know, we talk about it all the time, how pitchers have a difficult time repeating their release point. But Stroman can hit that release point from several different deliveries. That ball hit Bandy, the on-deck hitter. Bounced up and hit him as he was standing on deck. I don't think he was really paying attention. Hit him on the left arm. There's that four-seamer upstairs at 94.
And as an on-deck batter, you've got to be careful not to inch too close. Look how close he is standing on that grass. Now, if he's over back where that actual on-deck circle is, maybe he's got an extra fraction of a second to react.
I remember one unfortunate situation. Juan Encarnacion with the Detroit Tigers got hit in the eye while on deck and just kind of basically curtailed his playing career. You just got to have your heads up no matter where you are. Unfortunately, nowadays all the dugouts have fences in front of them. They have protection in those dugouts, and there was a time when there were a lot of shots hit in those dugouts.
And some hitters, what they'll do, they'll inch closer to the plate from that on-deck circle as a little maneuver to try to get a little bit better look at the pitches, and that's just a little sly move that some hitters will do as they inch closer from that on-deck circle towards the plate.
3-2 count to Santana. Inside, they ask for the appeal, and no swing, according to Chad Whitson. So it's a 1-out walk. That's the first base runner for the Brewers. Here's where the ground balls really come into play for Stroman. Marcus Stroman has induced 12 ground ball double plays. That's second to Dallas Keuchel of the Astros. He, in fact, has started 4 of those double plays. And Jet Bandy, the catcher, he'll hit a lot of ground balls. Bandy in his first season with the Brewers came over in a 1-for-1 trade for Martin Maldonado. Catcher went to Angels. As Joe mentioned, Bandy and Pena, the two catchers, basically splitting the time 50-50. Both of these teams very good on their infield defense, and they turned a lot of double plays. You see the Rangers, who we'll see Friday at Rogers Center, they've turned 59. The Brewers are second with 53, and they're the Blue Jays. They're in fourth. Tied with the Braves, they have turned 48 double plays.
And a lot of base runners. Marcus, for one, opponent's hitting over 290 against him. He gets a lot of ground balls, but a lot of ground balls find holes, so he gets stuck with a lot of base runners. But he's got the weapons to get those ground balls to compensate, and he can sometimes pitch a very good ball game. We talked about it last night a little bit when Joe Biagini got into trouble. It wasn't necessarily that he was getting hit all around the ballpark, but when you're a ground ball pitcher, some ground balls are going to find holes, and that's been very frustrating for Marcus in the past. But I think he's really grown and matured as a pitcher to be able to put that behind him and think about that next pitch, trying to get himself another one and hope it's hit at one of his infielders.
2 balls and his strike to Jet Bandy. Off the plate.
It's almost as though you have to live and die with it, but as a pitcher or a pitching coach, you will preach that each and every day. You keep the ball on the ground, I will take my chances.
Stroman gave up 7 hits in 5 2/3 against the Braves last time out. Ground ball. Goens it short. Travis for 1. Back to first. There's another double play. Make it 13 double plays. With Stroman on the mound, the Blue Jays take advantage of that ground ball. Goens starts it, and the inning is over.
My Blue Jays members log in to My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ5534 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Code must be entered by 4 a.m. and you can look for a new code tomorrow.
No score after 2 innings here in Milwaukee. There's only been one base runner or one out walk. That was erased on the double play by Stroman. 6-4-3 double play. The 13th double play turned with Marcus on the mound. 49th turn by the Blue Jays. Ryan Goens started that double play. He'll step to the plate to lead off the third against Matt Garza. Goens had 2 hits in 4 at-bats, including an RBI last night. He has not faced Garza in the past. Ryan's average at 202. He's got some big hits for the Blue Jays. He has 15 RBIs. And slow breaking ball, that is a strike. We've talked about how well Goens has played in the absence of Troy Tulowitzki, and he has done everything you could expect. Terrific defender with great range and a strong arm. That's lifted down the left side. Perez over, has room, and makes the catch in foul territory. 1 away.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful Miller Park here in Milwaukee, opened in 2001. Luke Maile, the catcher.
Sometimes as a hitter, you know right off the bat if you've sliced this ball enough to get into the seats, and it looks like Ryan's trying to steer this ball. Get out of play, get going. Seen a lot of frustration from Ryan. He's also hit some balls very hard throughout this tough stretch offensively and not had much to show for it.
Maile takes a breaking ball for a strike. It's 1-1 on the Blue Jays catcher. Luke making his 15th start. Goens says, I tried my best to get it into the seats. It just didn't work. Maile's done a great job since coming to the Blue Jays. He has really caught well. Obviously, he hasn't hit much, just 3 for 46 at the plate. But filling in and doing a great job behind the plate in the absence of Russ Martin when he was on the DL.
Well, I think it's what you're really looking for in a backup catcher. Russ, of course, is your everyday catcher, but Luke Maile is the perfect, quote, backup. And I say that because for me, it's defense first. Whatever you can contribute offensively is a bonus, but he's done a marvelous job behind the plate, learning these new pitchers because you're coming to a new team. I've always said it's probably the toughest position on the field to go to a new team because you have 10, 12, 13 pitchers to learn. You not only want to learn about their pitches and what they like to throw, their strengths and weaknesses, but you have to learn the personalities, the character of each one, and how to treat them. You're part of a psychologist behind the plate. Luke's done a nice job of that, and he's used Russell as a great resource to become that behind the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you join a team, you didn't have any spring training with the Blue Jays. He was picked up mid-season. When you come to a team, it's very difficult. I made that transition in '81 when I came from Milwaukee, went to Toronto mid-season in the middle of May, and it was a challenge. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off.
And I think the biggest challenge is that it takes time, and I'm sure you can attest to that. If you have all of spring training, like Saltalamacchia had all of spring training with the Blue Jays, so he got to learn all the pitchers and their personalities. That was ideal. He just didn't seem to be the right fit here. He struggled behind the plate, of course, and with the bat. Luke's learning on the fly, but he has done a very good job, and I think He's filled in perfectly behind the plate, and then you get a day like this. And we said Russ Martin's going to be at his best if you give him the proper rest.
Good breaking ball in. Mainly strikes out, 2 away. That'll bring Marcus Stroman to the plate. All he's doing this year is hitting .500. He's 2 for 4.
Well, we keep talking about what a tremendous athlete Marcus is, and of course he played some second base at Duke University in college. It's where his last home run was as a freshman at Duke. But that athleticism showed there, and he's a good hitter. He'll give it his best shot, and I think he's going to be a much tougher at-bat than most pitchers in baseball.
Well, the word is out now for sure. You can bet that they're going to pitch him tough. He goes after that first pitch. 0-1. Stroman has a double. That came as a pinch hitter against the Cardinals in St. Louis. And we come around and score the eventual winning run in that game.
That's the reputation right there. You get an 0-1 slider instead of another heater. The Brewers have done their scouting reports.
Maybe throw him a changeup. He's throwing him everything he has right now. Oftentimes you'll see an American League pitcher in the National League ballpark and a pitcher just rear back and throw fastballs. So Marcus now with a 1-2 count.
Of course, Marco Estrada has a little experience in that regard.
See, Stroman is the only pitcher in franchise history with 2 extra base hits. Osuna is probably thinking, I could hit it if I let him.
Give me a bat. No, Roberto, you just pitched in the 9th inning. Keep doing what you do.
Stroman strikes out. So Garza, first time through the order, 3 strikeouts. He retires 9 straight to start the ball game.
Milwaukee, fresh off a stint on the disabled list. Russ Martin told me last night, hey, I feel strong right now. There are no signs anything is wrong. I'm moving forward. To keep it that way, Martin has a maintenance regimen he works on daily, incorporating a little bit of everything with his upper body, shoulder exercises that work on end of motion and range of motion. The further you stretch it out, the weaker the muscles get. And Russ said, we want to test the range all over. Martin says this extra work is more of a caution than anything. And he told me, man, we can't afford to have that injury or DL happen again.
Now, it's very important to keep your players fresh, especially your frontline players. And Russ told me that he had his best season in 2014 when he started just 106 games behind the plate. He said, I had my best season taking care of myself, getting my rest, eating properly, and because of that, I hit nearly 300. So I think it's imperative for John Gibbons to make sure, especially when you've got Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Martin, Bautista, they're older. they're in the later stages of their career, and you've got to keep them as fresh as possible. And you can see the difference in Russ's body coming off the DL. He's got a lot of quickness in his bat.
And I think you have to admit, Russ is not getting younger either. He's into his 30s now, so if John Gibbons continues to protect him, and this is a perfect day to do that, instead of being behind the dish, you put him over at third base, a little less wear and tear, and who knows, by the end of this game, Russ could be behind the plate. We've seen that before too, but that versatility has become very valuable for this club with all the injuries.
In 2014, he was with the Pirates. That was his final season in Pittsburgh. He had 290, 11 home runs, 67 RBIs, but he told me, he said, that was my best year. He said, I just played well, I threw well, everything worked out well, and he parlayed that into the great free agent contract with the Blue Jays.
And I think we forget sometimes when you talk about Russ and we look at, he's in great shape, he had his knee cleaned up, and you're all excited about 2017, but he's logged a lot of innings behind the dish, and it does not get any easier as you get into your 30s.
Eric Sogard, 1-2. He bounces this one. That's a fair ball. Smoke will step on the bag, and Sogard is retired. Sogard, now that's 39 consecutive plate appearances without a strikeout. That ties him with Buster Posey for the time being for that streak. 39 straight plate appearances, no strikeouts.
And in this stretch, it's been a pretty successful one. He's been swinging the bat very well since putting on that Brewers uniform.
Came into this game 11 for 22. This is his 9th game since coming up from the minors. Spent most of his career with the Oakland A's, of course. Keon Broxton, the center fielder, batting 8th this afternoon. Broxton's got a 5-game hit streak, batting .318 over those 5 games.
That's a great example right there of that two-seam fastball from Stroman, not only diving in but going down to getting some depth with that pitch.
That's a pretty good pitch. Stroman didn't get the call. Ball and a strike. Broxton leads the National League in strikeouts. He has struck out 58 times. Hits this one high and deep to left, and that's going to go. Keon Broxton with his 5th home run of the season. Looked like a high breaking ball. And the Brewers have a 1-0 lead, and there goes Bernie Brewer.
Well, this pitch definitely stayed up in the zone, and we talk sometimes about that cutter from all different pitchers, but this one just stayed middle, and it just spun into a whole lot. And look at Broxton. When you hit a home run, you know it, and he got all of that one, a no-doubter on a pitch that hung out over the plate, elevated and in the middle.
Matt Garza, the pitcher, takes the first pitch outside.
Talked earlier about the cut fastball. The design right there is to start at middle, but then have it go outside off the barrel towards the end of the bat. But when it does not do what it's supposed to do, and you don't execute that pitch, it just spins, and it really just becomes a bad fastball. And Broxton took advantage of the mistake from Stroman.
1-1 to Garza, hit on the ground. Travis near second base, throws him out. 2 away.
The all-new 2017 CR-V. With revamped cargo space, it's the biggest fan yet. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
A lot of Blue Jay fans here in attendance. Keon Broxton with his 5th home run of the season has given Milwaukee a 1-0 lead. Back to the top of the order, leadoff man Jonathan Villar. Yeah, grounded out off the glove of Stroman. It went 1-6-3 on the putout. Stroman tipped it. Goens made the play near the bag at second. What's wrong with that one? Like a pretty good pitch. Ball on the strike to Villar. It's a base hit. VR with a 2-out single to left. So now the chess game begins. VR with 12 stolen bases. He had 3 stolen bases in the game last night. He led the National League last year with 62.
The Blue Jays have the right guy on the mound. I think Marcus Stroman is probably the best on the Blue Jays pitching staff at holding runners, getting the ball to the plate, and he'll do everything he can to give Luke Maile a shot. The problem is with good base stealers, everything has to be perfect for you to get them.
First pitch breaking ball for a ball. Eric Thames flied out to left field, his first time up. That's a balk, yes sir. And Stroman knows it. Stroman, he gets caught up all the time, and he kind of forgot. He came to a set position and then he rocked, and it was clearly a balk, and he is well aware of what he did, so you don't have to worry about a stolen base now as VR goes to second. Watch how he has his hands together, then he moves his foot. That is a balk. There's no question about it. And he went, yeah, I know it.
Well, that's what he does from the windup with nobody on base, but he just had a little lapse right there, and he knew right away.
And that's the challenges you have when your windup, if you will, is so close to your set position. Two balls and a strike to Eric Thames. One to nothing Milwaukee on the Broxton home run. Thames with a 3-1 count. Base open at first. Right-handed hitter on deck, Hernan Perez. And with a breaking ball and gets the swing and miss. Ball fourth. Thames draws a walk. Second walk issued by Stroman, and that's a big improvement in the game from Marcus Thames for Eric Thames. Well, he draws the walk.
Thames has become a much more disciplined hitter, and he said that earlier in his career he would muscle up and he would basically go hacking. But now what he's learned to do is really look and be disciplined in the strike zone. Look for an area. He may look middle away. If he's looking middle away, it doesn't matter the pitch, but if the pitch is out there, that's when he takes a good aggressive swing. If he's looking middle in and it's not there, he lays off. So when you're disciplined and you stick to that game plan, you're going to be a much better hitter. And there it is right there, drawing the free pass.
Hernan Perez, the left fielder, goes after the first pitch and fouls it into the third deck.
Some hitters will sit on pitches. They might sit on a breaking ball or they might sit on a fastball, but some hitters can also just look for a location. And if I'm looking middle in, it doesn't matter if it's a fastball at 93 or if it's the slider. If it's breaking and coming into that down and in area with where I'm looking, then you just count on your athleticism to react. But Thames has been very disciplined in that approach.
0-2. Bottom of the third inning here in Milwaukee. Blue Jays will fly home after this game, have an off day tomorrow, and then welcome in the Texas Rangers to Rogers Center for the first time. cut on and missed, and that'll end the inning, but the Brewers break out on top. Keon Broxton hitting 8th in this lineup connects for his 5th home run of the season. That sets Bernie Brewer off on the slide. The Brewers, their 67th home run of the season.
Continues tonight. The hometown Windsor Spitfires battle Dylan Strome and the juggernaut Erie Otters. That goes at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Just how good, Buck, has Strome been? He broke the record for most points in a Memorial Cup game the other night with 7. That came on a goal.
That is a big game, and of course Joe Siddle is a big fan of the Windsor Spitfires. That's your hometown as well.
Arash, you tell Erie they got a game tonight.
Passing that along.
Yeah,
Windsor boys will be ready.
that's awesome. Kevin Pillar takes a first pitch breaking ball from Matt Garza. Garza pitching with a 1-0 lead. Blue Jays haven't had a base runner. 9 up, 9 down. 3 strikeouts for Garza, first time through the order. Pillar connects, and this one's gonna go. Get up, ball way back and gone. Kevin Pillar, home run number 7, and just like that, it's a tie game. Boy, the ball flies here. That thing went deep into the seats in left field.
Very similar to the Bruxton home run in that the hitter knew it right when it left his bat. Kevin Pillar, you right about a no-doubter. Like a breaking ball from Garza, and he just left it up and out over the plate. Kevin's been very good. We talked about his discipline in the strike zone. We still see him chase on occasion. Every hitter is going to, but he has reduced that dramatically.
Devin Travis lined out to right field his first time up, and he pops this one up. Right side of the infield, first baseman Eric Thames is there, makes the catch. Pretty swing for Kevin Pillar. Let's have another look at it.
Well, Garza got ahead, and it's an 0-1 slider that really, again, it just backed up. And you can see when a slider backs up and isn't good, you see a big circle on those seams, and that's what hitters can identify. When you see that big circle, you see the spin, and you just stay on it. And boy, did he ever stay on that one, driving it deep into the seats. And you see where Garza misses. Middle in. That is a big mistake by a pitcher, but Pillar made him pay.
One game. Jose Bautista has to bend back from that up and in fastball. Bautista lined out to the shortstop his first time up. That ended the top of the first.
Well, you see that Matt Garza pitches inside. He does this a lot, and you're going to see Jet Bandy setting up inside on a lot of these Blue Jays right-handed hitters. And to be honest with you, I think that's the way you have to pitch at any level in baseball. And it's a good pitch right there. It's not a purpose pitch or anything. He missed his spot, but as a hitter now, you're conscious in there, and then Garza will probably try to get him out more away.
Cutter up the plate outside.
So
2 balls and no strikes.
So important for a pitcher or a catcher calling a game to move the ball in and out, to move it back and forth by changing speeds, and then by changing the plane up and down. And that's what good pitchers do. You don't have to be overpowering. You need to have good stuff, obviously, but it's more about location.
That ball is hit deep to center field. Get up, ball. This one's gonna go way off the hitter's background. Jose Bautista, his 8th home run of the season. So that pitch up and in cleared his focus a little bit.
Well, normally when you come up and in like that, you try to get the hitter conscious of the inner part of the plate and maybe get him leaking and leaving a bit early so that you can work him middle away. But that was not the case for Matt Garza. Wow, you talk about the ball flying here. We have seen that 3 times today.
2 home runs in this game. The Blue Jays have now hit 34 home runs in 22 games this month. They have only gone homerless in 2 games so far the entire month of May. So Bautista now with 8 homers and 23 RBIs continues to wear out the baseball in the month of May. All 4 of his hits off Garza have gone for extra bases. Boy, it's good to see him swinging the bat like that. He had a rough start to his season, but he never lost his confidence, never lost his focus, and he kept working hard, and things have turned around for him.
I wouldn't bet against him. You know, when a hitter struggles in the early part of the season, a lot of Blue Jays hitters did. If you're an older guy, the first thing people say, oh, maybe Father Time is catching up to him. And you have to wonder with some of these older players, but I think Jose Bautista has certainly silenced that notion.
Change up for a strike, and Bautista's been swinging it well.
Does such a nice job on covering the plate here. This ball is up and out over the plate, and we talk so often about how Jose likes that ball middle in and he's leaving early. He's not leaving early there. He timed that up beautifully and took it right back out to center field.
Smoke hits it on the ground. VR is out in the outfield grass. He throws to first. 2 away. It's so pretty, we're going to look at it again. Well, that is a majestic home run. Just off the scoreboard in center, above the hitter's eye.
Creates so much torque and power with that leg kick, but it's all about timing. And we talked about it during the month of April with a lot of these hitters struggling. When that timing's not right on, you can be in big trouble, and especially a guy like Jose that is a power hitter, and he's got that big leg kick. If that leg's not working properly and you're not in sync getting to that load, the timing is off and you have all kinds of issues. But boy, you get it back on, you can do a lot of damage.
The last 2 weeks have been very favorable for Jose. 6 homers and 14 RBIs. Russell Martin, the third baseman, takes a strike. Garza, first time through the order, had retired 9 straight with 3 strikeouts. It's been a different story here in the 4th. That's going to be foul.
Russ trying to get a little crafty here. Watch him peek down to third base. He's peeking down there at Travis Shaw, seeing that he's playing way back. He's like, okay, you're going to give me it? Maybe I'll take a shot right here. And he did, and he did the right thing. If you're going to miss with your bunt, you want it to go foul. The mistake you don't want to make is bunting it back towards the pitcher. Crafty veteran move there by Martin.
Garza wanted it. It was off the plate, according to Mike Winters, the home plate umpire. Blue Jays erased a 1-0 deficit with 2 home runs. Now Garza strikes out Russell Martin. But Kevin Pillar tied it. A leadoff home run for Pillar, home run number 7, a no-doubter to left. And then 1 out later. How about this shot? To the bottom of the scoreboard. Number 8 for Bautista.
Became the leader in the majors in home runs. The murmurs and innuendo began by nobody more than John Lackey of the Cubs, who suggested the power was likely because of PEDs. I asked Eric about it. He said, "I really don't care. I've been tested 1,000 times in my career. 6 and 7 years ago, Jose Bautista dealt with the same when he went on his home run tear. I asked Jose about his former teammate hearing similar noise. What did Bautista say? Quote, it's bizarre and out of this world for someone to go that far to suggest that's the only reason. Bautista said, quote, I just think it's uncalled for."
Here, 100% in agreement. Just because a guy all of a sudden put together 2 years of hard work and it paid off, and comes back and enjoys success, everybody wants to be critical. But Eric Thames is a guy of a lot of character, and he went over to Korea, Joe, put in a lot of hard work.
Well, we've been through that era, and Eric Thames has always been a big, strong guy, but we've talked already during these 2 games about the time he spent in Korea, and he said it himself. He was bored. He was one of the few Americans over there, and the other Americans had families there, so he had a lot of time to himself. He got on his computer. He started looking up hitting videos, and he said, I'm going to kind of reinvent myself and teach myself how to hit and be. We talked about his discipline, and that's one of the things, but he's also said before he muscled up a little bit more, so his swing now is a lot more free and looser, and that allows for better bat speed. He talked about Joey Votto and what he talked about in terms of stretching and getting that separation and all those things that you hear power hitters talk about, but it's a lot of hard work, and congratulations to him.
This ball is down the right side, and that is a foul ball off the bat of Travis Shaw. Now Stroman now pitching with the lead. It's 2-1 Blue Jays. Deion Braxton with a solo home run, and the Blue Jays have a pair of solo home runs. Kevin Pillar, number 7. Jose Bautista, number 8.
It's a big pitch for a starting pitcher. It's Stroman's job to go back out there now and put up a 0 after his team scores a couple and puts your team ahead. It just really builds that momentum into your favor. Certainly not easy to do against this Milwaukee Brewers lineup and all of the ability that they have to change the game with one swing of the bat.
Shutdown innings, they are essential. You want your club right back on offense and keep them thinking about putting up some more runs. Travis Shaw swings and misses. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Jose Barrios has really come on since coming back to the major leagues. He did not make the team out of spring training. But going into this game this afternoon, 2-0 with a 0.59 earned run average. And he's another young pitcher that got an opportunity to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, and he has made the most of it. Just 22 years old. Domingo Santana with a 2-1 count. Santana walked against Stroman in the second.
Another Santana Irvin that Barrios is matching up with the Twins, but a nice combination for them in that rotation.
Well, the Twins have really gotten some great performances from some of the younger players. It looks like Miguel Sano has figured it out.
Another team similar to the Brewers here. Who would have thought that they'd be leading their division in late May? Not too many people, and it's a long season. They've got a lot of work to do. Of course, that's what Craig Counsell talked about yesterday. He's not going to get too excited too soon.
Russell Martin gets a chance at third and fires a seed across the infield, 2 away.
Buy 6 cans of Beauty Tone paint and get the 7th free. Available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Beauty Tone, Canada's color experts.
Miller Park has a lot of loyal fans here, and they love their Brewers. A lot of people may forget that the Brewers were the first team to play the Blue Jays at Skydome at the time. June 5th, 1989, Paul Molitor got the first hit off Jimmy Key. He hit a double in the first inning. And the Brewers were the ones that helped the Blue Jays christen that beautiful new ballpark back in 1989. Chet Bandy, the catcher, grounded into a double play back in the second. The Hall of Famer Paul Molitor, now the manager of that young Twins team. Minnesota a game in front in the American League Central, just like the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League. Bandy strikes out. That ends the inning. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead as we head to the 5th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Craig Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever, where you can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. You can visit MLB.TV for details. And if you subscribe to it tonight, Chris Sale will try and slow down the red-hot Texas Rangers, who come to Rogers Center this weekend. Buck.
Thank you very much, Arash. And boy, what a season Chris Sale has put together. He's off to a terrific start, racking up strikeouts, double-digit strikeout games. What, 9 in a row? He has really
tied his own record with Pedro's, I believe, and he's trying to break it in this start.
Matt Garza gave up 2 home runs to the Blue Jays in the 4th inning, and now he trails 2-1. Chris Coghlan flied out to center field, his only time up this afternoon. Inside corner, it's a ball and a strike. We mentioned Sale. He's going for 9 straight double-digit strikeout games. That would be a new major league record. One pitch to Coghlan. Inside. The Boston Red Sox, 23-21. They're 3.5 back. They have won 2 in a row. They lost 3 of 4 out in Oakland against the A's. Upstairs, 3-1. The Rangers will play Thursday night while the Blue Jays have an off day, and then they'll come into Rogers Center to play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Rangers and the Red Sox in a series. Coghlan bounces it up the middle, through for a base hit. Chris Coghlan with his first knock of the afternoon. Just 3 hits for the Blue Jays so far.
Well, Chris has not had all of the success I'm sure that he wishes he had offensively in a Blue Jays uniform, but he gives you a good at-bat, good base runner, got some speed on the bases, and he can be a valuable piece. We talk about all the injuries. Well, he's been another one of those guys. He's a fill-in, but you need those guys, and that's why it takes more than 25 when you break camp out of spring training.
Ryan Goens flied out in foul territory down the left field line. And a high pop-up looked like it was going to sail out of play, but it stayed over the playing surface. That's pulled foul past first. Goens batting 7th. Luke Maile is next, and remember the pitcher follows Maile. Fair ball over the bag. Coghlan is around second. He's going to third. Here's the throw to second. Goens slides in safely with a double. Eric Thames looking at the manager, Craig Counsell, and said, hey man, I thought that was foul. They're going to check with Chad Whitson, the first base umpire. But Coghlan ends up at third. Counsell, this is not a reviewable play, so he has no option. This ball bounces in front of the bag, and Thames dives into foul territory, but according to first base umpire, that went over the bag for a double for Goens, his 5th double.
Off the bat of a left-handed hitter, that ball's going to be hooking away from Thames, and according to Chad Whitson, it just must have gone over the outside part of the bag right there. Just has to go over any part of that first base bag to be considered a fair ball, and that's as close as they come. But first base umpire had a better view than any of us in the ballpark.
So now Luke Maile will step up. Nobody out. Runners at second and third. Chance to build on the Blue Jays lead. Maile has just one RBI. That came on a solo home run last Thursday in Atlanta. The infield is halfway. Maile hits it deep to right center. That's going to score a run. Broxton makes the catch. Tagging and coming in is Coughlin. He scores as Goens goes to third. Good job by Maile, going to the opposite power alley to pick up the RBI.
Well, not only does Luke Maile get the run in, but he also moves the runner over to third base. So double whammy. A nice productive at bat right there, cashing in that run. And now you've got Marcus Stroman up. We'll see what the Brewers do here. We keep talking about the athleticism and how Marcus Stroman can handle the bat. I don't know that a squeeze would be out of the question at some point. We will keep a close eye.
The infield is at halfway depth now. The corners are even with the bag. Middle infield is just a step behind the baseline. Stroman bounces it foul. Marcus got a steady diet of breaking balls and changeup in his first at bat.
And that's another reason why a squeeze would be risky here, because you get a breaking ball down and away, it's hard to get the bat on the ball. If you've got a runner coming home, run yourself right into an out.
Yeah, I don't think you would do it with Kevin Pillar on deck. Even if Stroman makes an out, you got Pillar batting with a guy just 90 feet away. Especially now with 2 strikes, it's not in play. But I think even with Stroman starting out to bat, I don't think that would be a good play with Kevin Pillar, the next hitter.
And I think John Gibbons is thinking if Stroman can just get the bat on the ball somehow, there's so many ways to sneak a runner home from third here.
Guys missed with that fastball up. They wanted Stroman to chase.
And that's about changing the plane, as we talked about earlier. Now I think he's set up for that breaking ball back down and away, and he'll try to get Stroman to chase. Garza needs a strikeout more than anything right here.
He put the bat on the ball and stays alive. Tell you one thing, Marcus Stroman isn't going to give in.
Is he competitive at all?
Oh man. He would love to pick up this extra run.
So important too. How many times we talk about tacking on those additional runs to build that lead. Morales did it last night with the 2-run homer. Those runs come in handy later in the ball game.
Goens strikes out on that high heater. So now there are 2 outs. That'll turn the lineup over. Kevin Pillar will have a chance with 2 outs to add to the lead. Pillar homered his last time up. He had a home run deep to the seats in left field. Pillar, his 7th home run came in his 182nd at bat this year. Last year he didn't hit home run number 7 until 548 at bats.
And you know what's great about it? I don't think Kevin Pillar's trying to hit home runs at all.
He pops up on the first pitch. Second baseman Villar is there and makes the catch. So the Blue Jays add a run. They leave a runner at scoring position. Luke Maile with a sacrifice fly. 3-1 Blue Jays.
Well, they're the two best words in sports. Game 7. Tomorrow night, Senators, Penguins for a spot in the Stanley Cup Final. It'll go 8 o'clock Eastern on the CBC. It was Pittsburgh goaltender Matt Murray today who said, hey, look, Game 7, much more intense. It's fun to get lost in those moments and just do what you can do. Buck?
Nothing like it. That is a terrific phrase, Game 7, so you can watch it all tomorrow night. And the Nashville Predators, for the first time, will go to the Stanley Cup Finals. So congratulations to that organization for a great season, and I'm sure they don't think that their job is done just yet. Marcus Stroman has allowed just 2 hits. He has a 3-1 lead as he's set to start the bottom of the 5th. Sogard Broxton in the pitcher's spot. Matt Garza for Milwaukee. We mentioned Eric Sogard, with that ground out to first, has now had 39 consecutive plate appearances without a strikeout. That goes back to September 30th of 2015. He is now tied with Buster Posey for the longest consecutive streak without a strikeout. Sogard spent 6 seasons with the Athletics. This is his first year in Milwaukee. This is just his 10th game of the season. He's a good player. He can play short, second, third, fill in. He was a second-round pick of the Padres in 2007 out of Arizona State.
Good idea right there. Luke Maile thinking, trying to run that fastball in on his hands. Marcus got it in there a little bit too far. Doesn't get Sogard to bite.
Fouled out of play. Now 3-2. Keon Broxton is on deck. He homered in the 3rd. That was the first run of the ball game. Blue Jays got 2 homers in the 4th, Pilar and Bautista. Sogard walks. Keon Broxton, his home run, his 5th of the season. It was a no-doubter, and it extends his hit streak to 6 straight.
Well, when you watch the highlights at night, most home runs are on mistake pitches, and this was a mistake from Marcus. Left it up and out over the middle of the plate, and Broxton knew it right when he hit it, and he celebrated a little bit with his teammates in the dugout.
Keon Broxton, 6-game hit streak, as we mentioned. Ground ball, could be 2. Goens to Travis for 1. Back to first. It is a double play. Second double play of the afternoon, turned by the Blue Jays. Marcus Stroman can turn some double plays.
Well, this is his bread and butter right here, and it works perfectly. 6-4 to 3. A lot of emotion on the mound from the pitcher. That is a pitcher's best friend right there, and he's very excited about clearing the bases.
14 double plays turned behind Stroman this season. Matt Garza, the pitcher, swings and misses. Oh, and 2. Stroman last year led all major league pitchers in the highest ground ball percentage, and he's continued to get the ground balls this season.
And that's why, too, that he has that high opponent's batting average. Those ground balls do find holes. And there's times, of course, that he gets hit hard and the line drives are finding the gaps, too. But we've seen an awful lot of ground balls find holes this year. It's what you have to do as a ground ball pitcher. You have to put up with that. But you also know you're one pitch from getting 2 outs.
Garza hits it on the ground towards second. Travis has it. Quick inning for Stroman. Double play helps out when we come back. It'll be Devin Travis leading things off, trying to extend his hit streak to 9 straight. Jose Bautista homered his last time up, and Justin spoke.
You know, it's been an 8-game hit streak for Devin Travis, but early this season he was struggling, searching for answers, and then came Mother's Day weekend. After the game that day, after the Pilar walk-off home run, Darwin Barney took Travis to the batting cages inside Rogers Center for an hour. They hit off a tee, and after each swing, Barney spoke for almost a minute, explaining to Travis it's about the right feel and the right mindset going into a swing. Believe it's going to happen, Darwin told him. Don't wonder if it's going to happen. Barney went through an injury-plagued spring training before. It affected him earlier in his career. I didn't want Devin to go through what I did, he said. Throw a couple of years of your career away not being right. The conversation, as Travis puts it, 1% technique, 99% mental. And since that day, Devin said, mentally I've been able to feel that fire. One Sunday afternoon, Barney and Travis said, I can't tell you how much it meant to me.
Well, that's what teammates are all about, Arash, and being able to recognize when somebody needs some help. And it might not be a physical thing. It might be more of a mental thing. And Joe, I'm sure you've had teammates that were well aware of all the situations around them. One of my best teammates was right here in Milwaukee, Sal Banda, the captain of the Milwaukee Brewers. And he was like Barney. He was so well aware of everybody's mindset. And you know, half an hour spent in that batting cage has done wonders for Devin Travis.
Well, and I think it also speaks to a lot of times we talk in this game, you want to look at Darwin Barney's statistics and you just kind of go, yeah, he plays part-time, yeah. But there's an awful lot of value to some players, and those numbers or that value we're never going to see until we hear stories like that. And you can't put a number on that, the impact Darwin has had on Devin Travis in the turnaround.
Well, so much of this game, and you know, the physical ability, very, very similar around baseball. Everybody's a great athlete, but what separates the stars from the also-rans are the star's ability to focus on the task at hand, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, fielder, just to stay in the moment. And Devin Travis has been able to do that this entire month.
And no matter how you slice it, it's a game of failure, even for the superstars. We see great players, great hitters go through their struggles, but that's where it becomes such a mental game. And I think you have to be probably as mentally strong as in any other sport in baseball because of the failures that you experience.
And also because you do it every day. You know, you play football once a week, you play basketball maybe twice a week, hockey probably 3 times a week. Baseball's every day. So if you don't have the ability to block out the negative in each and every game, it's going to eat you alive.
And I think the work that Brooke Jacoby has done there too, see him talking to Kevin Pillar in preparing these hitters. We're talking about hitters today. They want information. They want to be prepared. What's the starting pitcher got? What does he like to do in certain situations?
That ball is drilled to deep center field. Get up ball, and Devin Travis has just knocked it out. Another home run for Travis. With that home run, he extends his hit streak to 9 straight games. Boy, he smoked that one. 3rd home run of the afternoon for the Blue Jays.
There are no cheapies at Miller Park this season or this afternoon especially. Just another no-doubter.
People talk about how Rogers Center is a friendly hitter's ballpark, and I don't think the Blue Jays would mind hitting here on a regular basis. And Darwin Barney, he's got to have a little smile on his face as well.
And you know, Darwin's great because he doesn't want any accolades. He doesn't even want us talking about him right now. But guess what, Darwin? Too bad. We heard a great story and we're going to share it. What a great job by Devin Travis, jumping all over that pitch up in the zone from Garza.
Bautista has homered this afternoon. With that home run back in the 4th, Jose is now 16 for 38 in interleague play this season. That's a .421 average. A measure of satisfaction for sure, and you know that Darwin feels it. That's when you know you're a good teammate, when your teammates can go out there and do things like that. And as an extra player, you sit on the bench and you say, okay, I did my part. I'm helping out.
And some people may say, why would Barney be helping Travis? He's competing with him to play. Well, you're right, but that's because that's Darwin Barney. It's a great teammate.
Bautista's got it figured out now, doesn't he? Another 2-hit game for Jose.
Well, we talked about Devin Travis and the adjustment he's also made in the batter's box. It's freed him up a little bit, backing off that plate just a bit, and it's allowed him to get to these types of pitches right here. The ball's up in the zone, but it's also in just a little bit. But he keeps his hands inside the baseball so well all the time with that swing path. But the high pitch, its swing is going to flatten out a little bit more. Normally that barrel's working underneath your hands, but as that ball elevates, it's a little bit more on the same plane, and he's got a lot of pop. John Gibbons said that way back. Not only can he hit, but he's got some pop in the bat, and we saw it right there.
Bautista is 2 for 3. 3 home runs today for the Blue Jays. It's the 4th time this month they've hit 3 home runs in a game. Their home run total now for the month of May, 35. This is their 22nd game.
Now, if you'd have said this last year, we'd say, yeah, it's a home run hitting team, but I don't think John Gibbons was expecting it from Devin Travis, Kevin Pillar. the big boys aren't in that.
Justin Smoke.
Really?
Smokey's got 10. He's got himself a base hit, and the Blue Jays all of a sudden are teeing off on Matt Garza. Garza retired the first 9 batters he faced in this ball game, including 3 strikeouts. That's Oliver Drake loosening up for the Brewers. So here in the 6th, home run, single. And Drake now loosening up in earnest.
Well, you know, last year we talked, and even the last couple of years, we talked about that tandem in the middle of the lineup with Bautista and Encarnacion. Of course, you've got Tulo and you've got Josh Donaldson and all those home runs, but now they're starting to spread it out throughout that lineup.
Well, this number is not surprising for Garza and the Brewers. 3rd time through the batting order, the opposing lineups have hit .423 against Matt Garza. And so far for the Blue Jays, they are 3 for 4, 3rd time through the order.
Talk about hitters seeing the pitcher, and especially in interleague play for these Blue Jays hitters, you see them one time through, and Garza retired 9 straight, as you noted earlier. Start seeing him that 2nd time. Okay, now I've seen that slider, and now you pick up certain pitches. Kevin jumped all over a hanging slider, and he hit out of the ballpark, and now he's leaving some fastballs up out over the plate, and Blue Jays are doing more damage. But Garza needs to be much more precise with his pitches as he gets through the lineup, and that's just not happening right here.
This is Garza's 14th career start against the Blue Jays, but first since 2010. Russell Martin, ball in the dirt. Martin's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. (4-1) Blue Jays. Still nobody out. Travis homered to start the inning. Bautista ripped a single to center. Same for Justin Smoke. So it's first and second, nobody out. Travis now with a 9-game hit streak, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs over those 9 games.
Garza missing up with a lot of pitches this inning. We've seen a few fastballs up in the zone hit extremely hard. And that's an 0-2 slider, that a breaking ball that he just left way high up right there, and that's going down to get a little bit more rosin right there. And you can see as you get into a ball game, the pitchers start missing up. I immediately think fatigue, and that's when you're just not as crisp and sharp with your pitches. And have we ever seen that out of Garza here?
He's not driving through his delivery. Martin drills this one to center. Broxton makes a terrific sliding catch to take a hit away from Russell Martin. Keon Broxton did a terrific job getting a good break on that and then sliding to his knees to make the catch. That's the first out of the inning. Another hard hit ball.
And it's a very loud out. See Broxton in center field. He was shading right center to begin with, but he got a good jump, took a good angle to this ball. It looked like he was going to dive down, but he made a nice job sliding into that and just barely holding on.
And another loud out, and that's going to be it for Matt Garza as Craig Counsell has come out of the dugout, and they'll make a pitching change. So the Blue Jays, with 3 home runs off Matt Garza, have knocked him out of the game. They've got a 4-run lead. Oliver Drake coming on to face Chris Coghlan.
Jays Care's Girls at Bat program empowers girls and young women to succeed on and off the field. To get more girls in the game, visit jayscare.com/girls at bat.
New pitcher into the ballgame for Milwaukee is the right-hander Oliver Drake. Drake now 30 years old, originally drafted and signed with the Baltimore Orioles. He spent parts of 3 seasons in Baltimore. He came to Milwaukee this year. He was traded by the Orioles to the Brewers for a player to be named later on the 13th of April.
Last pitched on Sunday against the Cubs, just a third of an inning, retired the only batter that he faced, Addison Russell. Stranded a couple of inherited runners in the 8th inning, and he's done a nice job of that.
Chris Coghlan singled and scored in the 5th. Snap throw behind the runner at second, but Bautista's back safely. Both Bandy and Pena, the catchers, they throw behind the runners a lot.
Well, you mentioned that last night with Pena behind the plate, and today it's Jet Bandy, and Craig Counsell has said he's got a nice tandem here behind the plate. Both of them throw well, but they've also contributed offensively in combination behind the dish for him.
The Brewers don't have a left-hander in their bullpen, and they like to refer to Drake as the guy they have the most trust in pitching to left-handed batters. That's why he is on to face Chris Coghlan here.
Drake will average just over 92 miles per hour with the fastball, and he's also got that split finger, which he throws over 50% of the time, so you're going to see a lot of them, and I think Chris Coghlan will see another one if he gets back in the count here.
4 straight balls for the walk, and that'll load the bases. So Drake, not exactly what Craig Counsell had on his mind when he made the pitching change. So still just 1 out. Ryan Goens had a double just over the bag at first base his last time up. I got a chance to really kick the door wide open here.
Well, Drake's been very good at getting the ground ball also, so Ryan's going to do everything he can to try to get something in the air here and drive it and prevent that potential double play ball.
(4-1) Blue Jays. Is that a high splitter?
Not a good one. That's not where it is by design. That's a hanger that if you are looking for it, you probably hit it pretty hard somewhere, but that was such a bad pitch that Ryan gave up on it. Looked like it was going to be high in the zone and just came down a bit to catch the top part.
Swing and a drive deep to right. This is gonna go grand slam home run for Ryan Goens. His first career grand slam. The 4th home run for the Blue Jays this afternoon.
Well, Ryan Goens jumped all over this pitch from Oliver Drake, and this is the problem when you're a pitcher that comes out of the bullpen and you walk a guy on 4 straight pitches. You miss with the first pitch splitter up in the zone. What do you think the hitter's looking for? Ryan's all over the fastball right here. He's saying there's nowhere to put me. He has to come with the heater, and he got one almost on the inside corner, but boy, did he ever barrel that ball up.
Goens with the grand slam, the 2nd grand slam for the Blue Jays this season, his first career grand slam. He now has driven in 19 runs. He's had 2 great at-bats here. He has doubled and hit a homer. The first time the Blue Jays have hit 4 home runs in a game this season. (8-1). Luke Maile hits it to short. Sogard, long throw in time. 2 away.
Well, Ryan's in a great hitter's count, a great hitter position because the pitcher's on the ropes. So he's just looking dead red heater, and he got one in the wheelhouse. When you miss middle in and up in the zone and the hitter's looking for it, you're in big trouble. It's one thing to look for the pitch and get it, but Ryan, to his credit, executed a beautiful swing.
He has hit 2 of the longest home runs the Blue Jays have hit this season.
Sneaky pop.
The one he hit in Anaheim, very similar to that grand slam. Marcus Stroman goes after the first pitch. Strike two. Three runs this inning will be charged to Matt Garza. Bautista smoked both singled after the Travis home run. Those will all go to Garza. Goens and Coghlan will go on Oliver Drake's line. So Garza is charged with 6 earned runs.
Bit of an unorthodox delivery from Drake, but it's worked pretty well for him. He's pitched well for the Brewers in his 17 games. Struck out 19 in 15 2/3 coming into today, but the Blue Jays have been all over him here. The leadoff walk is a killer, and you mentioned it, Craig Counsell, as a manager, you bring in the pitcher to face. You've got 2 left-handers coming in. He's your guy since you don't have a left-hander down there. Doesn't do the job.
Well, Stroman strikes out, but it's all academic. The bats are roaring here this afternoon. Ryan Goens with his first career grand slam. The Blue Jays lead it 8-1. Strength for the Blue Jays this season coming into the 2017 season, but injuries have knocked out 3 of their 5 starters, and when you look at the innings from their starters, Marco Estrada and Marcus Stroman, boy, they have been a godsend as far as their consistency pitching deep into a game.
Well, they certainly have. You had 5 good starting pitchers coming back into the Blue Jays rotation this year, the best in the American League last season. With the injuries, you've got to call upon now Joe Biagini to step in. Sanchez and Liriano still on the disabled list with Jay Hatton. The guys that they have brought up, very mixed results. But Estrada and Stroman have been the mainstays, and thank goodness for that, because the Blue Jays have already pitched more innings than anyone in the American League out of the bullpen. And you just can't be doing that for 6 months. It's been a rough start, but Estrada and Stroman carrying their load, and good thing.
So Marcus now with a 7-run lead. Works to the top of the order, Jonathan Villar. The Blue Jays playing in their 47th game this season. Starters have managed to go 7 or more innings just 8 times. And that is a heavy load to put on the bullpen. John Gibbons' bullpen has thrown the most innings in the American League. So you hope with Stroman and Estrada continuing to pitch deep into the game, that Jay Happ will come back, Liriano will come back, and then they will be able to take some of the workload off the bullpen.
And you made a good point last night. This has forced some guys into action that have really stepped up. When you talk about Tepera and Barnes and Dominic Leone and those guys down there, and that can be a great thing, but I still believe it has to change a little bit, because even those guys, when July and August rolls around, it can be a real challenge.
Well, of course, because they're such inexperienced pitchers and they haven't had a big workload in the past. So you've got to think that, you know, Danny Barnes is going to need a little bit of a break. Dominic Leone the same. You know, they have pitched well. Ryan Tepera is pitching at a better pace, and in fact he's throwing the ball so well right now. The tendency would be to use him a lot.
Get the ball again.
Eric Thames has walked and flied out. VR drew the leadoff walk here in the 6th. Bailey with a timely walk to the mound now. He's going to jog out there and have a chat with Marcus. Hey, let's get it back in the strike zone.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Get there fast, leave even faster.
Blue Jays trying to make it 2 in a row here in Miller Park against the Brewers, and Pete Walker just got off the phone, and that's going to get the bullpen moving around. That's 7 straight balls by Stroman here. Dominic Leone and Aaron Loup starting to get loose. The Blue Jays last night got 4 2/3 innings from their bullpen. They combined to strike out 8, and they did not give up a hit. Terrific outings for Barnes, Tepera, Smith, and Osuna. Danny Barnes picked up his first big league win in that game last night. And after the game, he talked about how rewarding it was, given the fact that his last couple of outings haven't been very good. Let's keep plugging away.
Very important piece down there.
Thames fouls it off. It's a full count.
And who'd have thought breaking spring training we'd be talking about how important Danny Barnes and Ryan Tepera have been.
Ryan Tepera has the longest scoreless inning streak by a reliever in the majors.
And they've been so critical because you've had the struggles of J.P. Howell and Jason Grilli down there. That was a little unexpected.
Stroman comes all the way back and strikes out Eric Thames. 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. Well, you know, it's interesting how you make plans and you plan out the season. You say, okay, here's our rotation, here's our bullpen. Now Osuna's going to be our closer. Well, he started the season on the DL, and that had a domino effect on the entire bullpen. So Grilli's now forced into the closer's role. He got off to a rough start. J.P. Howell was hurt early on, so everybody has to be elevated into more significant roles.
Probably John Gibbons' best trait is to be able to adapt and just stay cool throughout the storm, because he's had to go to plan B, C, D, E. It just keeps going on this season.
Remember when Gibby was saying, you know, these guys are going to hit. Bautista's going to hit. He's hit before. Travis is a 300 hitter. He's going to hit. And everybody criticized John because he was just extolling the company line, but he knows his players.
He knows his players. He trusts his players a lot more than other people, and that's okay because he's the one calling the shots. And I remember throughout those struggles in April, everybody was calling for Jose to be dropped down in the order because of his struggles. Well, he said it takes time, and you know, I can't agree with him anymore that when you have guys with proven track records, sometimes you go through those stretches, but keep rolling with it. They're going to come for you. You stick with them and they'll pay you back, and I think they've done that and more.
Pulled foul by Perez. And you know, when a manager starts to show doubt in the players by moving the lineup around, by maybe giving a player a day off, saying, hey, I'm just giving you a day off, and the player knows what's up, they start to lose their confidence a little bit more. But John stayed the course. He did it with Travis. He did it with Bautista. He pushed Pilar into the leadoff spot. 1-2. Fly ball to center. Pilar hustling back. This ball's carrying over his head. Bounces off the wall. The R is headed for third. He will stop there as Perez picks up a double, his 9th double. It comes with 1 out here in the 6th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The Blue Jays have hammered out 4 home runs today. They have hit 3 solo home runs and a grand slam home run, that by Ryan Goens. Pete Walker out to have a chat with Marcus Stroman. Ryan Goens becomes the first Blue Jays shortstop to hit a grand slam since Troy Tulowitzki, September 11th, 2016 against the Red Sox. And this has been the first 4-homer game for the Jays since September 20th last year against Seattle. They had 11 4-homer games last year.
And in this ballpark, you need these insurance runs. And I think Ryan Goens' grand slam is going to come in handy, possibly before this day is out. John Gibbons talks about that so often, playing in the AL East ballparks. Well, you can put Miller Park right in that grouping. Never enough runs.
Travis Shaw's had a rough 2 games. He was 0 for 4 last night with 4 strikeouts. He's 0 for 2 this afternoon with another strikeout.
They've got him with breaking balls and they've got him with elevated fastballs, and that's changing the planes and changing the speeds.
He fouls that one off his foot. 1-2, 1 out. Blue Jays with 5 runs in the top half of the 6th. Strike 3 call. Shaw strikes out. Well, Jose Bautista has had another great series. He has homered and singled here this afternoon. Yesterday, 2 more hits, 2 for 3. That young man down in the bullpen, he is the bullpen catcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. His name, Robinson Diaz. And if you remember that name, that's the player that the Blue Jays traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates for Jose Bautista.
And it all comes together.
Wow. What a one-sided trade that was. Diaz at the time was a catching prospect in the minor leagues, and of course Bautista had bounced around and hadn't really become Jose Bautista yet. But now Diaz is a bullpen catcher for the Brewers, and Bautista is a superstar. Nice block by Maile. So you just really never know what's going to happen when you make a trade, and you make trades according to your needs in the organization. And the Blue Jays had a few catch prospects, so they said, you know what, let's take a shot on this Bautista guy and see what can happen. Turned out pretty well. One to Domingo Santana. Now it's 2-1. Stroman up over 100 pitches. A couple double plays turned, helped him out. He has walked 4 and struck out 4. That's going to be into the seats, out of play. The Blue Jays are 3-3 so far on this 7-game road trip. They will go home to welcome in the Texas Rangers for a 3-game series. Then the Cincinnati Reds come to town for 3. And the Yankees wrap it up with a 4-game series, a 10-game homestand for the Blue Jays. That ball is drilled to left. This ball is going to be up the top of the fence and out of here. A 3-run home run for Domingo Santana. His 6th home run, 2nd home run for Milwaukee this afternoon. That ball hit right off the top of the fence and bounced out of the ballpark for a home run.
Well, this is exactly what I was referring to when I talked about John Gibbons and his comments about AL East ballparks, and Miller Park is one of them. Fastball up in the zone to Santana. Didn't look like when he hit it that he got all of it at all, and sure enough, it went off the top of the wall.
So Marcus Stroman will leave this ball game and turn things over to the bullpen. Dominic Leone, first out of the pen this afternoon. As he walked the leadoff man, Jonathan Villar gave up a single to Perez, and now they 3-run a home run. He finishes with 5 2/3, 4 earned runs. They all came in on home runs, and he walked 4 and struck out 5. But he's still in line for the win as Dominic Leone takes over, and the Blue Jays have a 4-run lead at 8-4.
Dominic pitching in his 19th game. He last pitched on Saturday at Baltimore, pitched a scoreless inning. At ERA just under 4.5, but Dominic has struck out 22 in just 20 1/3 innings of work. He will use that fastball, averaging 93, 94 miles per hour with a slider and a cutter.
Catcher Jet Bandy has gone 0 for 2 so far. Two outs. There have been 8 runs scored in this 6th inning. The Blue Jays got 5 in the top half. Milwaukee has scored 3 in the bottom half. There have been 6 home runs hit this afternoon. 4 for the Jays and 2 for the Brewers. Leone closes out the inning by striking out Jet Bandy. Dominic Leone continues a great run by the bullpen. We'll go to the 7th, 8-4 Jays. since 2010. It was his 14th career start and didn't go so well. Garza actually retired the first 9 he faced, and then the roof kind of caved in the 4th. He goes 5 1/3, 7 hits, 3 home runs, 6 earned runs, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 5. Then Oliver Drake came in. He pitched 2/3 of an inning, was charged with 2 runs on a hit. And now Jared Hughes, the 3rd Brewer pitcher to work this afternoon.
Jared Hughes working in his 19th game. He was signed by Milwaukee April the 2nd after being released by the Pirates towards the end of spring training. Last pitched on Sunday against the Cubs, allowed 4 earned runs in just 2/3 of an inning. He had been unscored upon in his previous 7 outings, but had a rough one at Wrigley Field.
Hughes is 6'7", originally drafted out of Cal State Long Beach in 2006. Long Beach State. That's where Tulowitzki and Estrada played. Kevin Pillar has homered in 3 trips this afternoon. He has spent 6 seasons with the Pirates. This is his 7th big league season. He has never started a game in the majors. This is his 332nd appearance. All out of the pen. Hot shot to 3rd. Shaw has it. Pillar's retired, 1 down. So that'll bring Devin Travis to the plate. He too has homered, as Travis homered in the 6th, the leadoff home run. That home run, Devin has extended his hit streak to 9 straight games. His average up to 242.
Almost looks as though Devin is backing off the plate even more when you see him in that right-handed batter's box right now compared to earlier this season. Really trying to free up his hands on the inside part.
Devin Travis started the month by playing against the Yankees in New York on May 1st. He went into that game batting .130 with 2 doubles, a home run, and 4 RBIs. He's put together some start to this month.
Slightly closed with that stance, and he has to be careful he doesn't really close himself off with his stride.
Another 1 hopper to 3rd. 2 away. As hot as Travis has been in the month of May, same goes for Jose Bautista. This was in the 4th inning.
And when Jose gets hot, he's one of the elite power hitters in this game, and that's a majestic drive off the board in center field, no doubt about it. Fastball up and out over the plate. Jose took it right back in the direction it came from. It's a difference with power hitters too. When they start locking it in, they can do that much more damage, and Jose has been on a nice run.
In that same game, May 1st at Yankee Stadium, Bautista entered that game batting .178, 3 doubles, 1 home run, and 7 RBIs. He's now up to 23 RBIs along with 6 homers hit in this month. Hughes gets on it quickly, throws to first, 3 up, 3 down, 3 ground ball outs for the Brewers in the top of the 7th.
On track to return to John Gibbons' team this weekend. Happ and Liriano not far off. So with about 2 months left before the trade deadline, what's the organization's mindset on the future? GM Ross Atkins said today, look, the division hasn't gotten away from us. We're very much in it, but he said we do need to go on a run. Atkins says there is no concrete timeline on when a decision has to be made, quote, because it all depends on the division and how we're playing. He said at some point we'll know on subjective, objective, and projected health on what's best for the organization. And Atkins says the Blue Jays have, quote, absolutely remained focused on adding and winning.
And that they should. When you look at this division, I think it's anybody's ball game. I think there's a perfect team in the division. The Yankees at the start of play today have a 1.5 lead over Baltimore, and Baltimore, they have made it a one-run game. It's 4-3, top of the ninth in Baltimore. They are losing. Boston plays tonight. They're 23-21. Tampa Bay is 23-25, and the Blue Jays are 20-26. Baltimore has lost 3, on the verge of losing 4 straight. Tampa Bay has lost 3 in a row. So I think you just keep playing, get your players back, make an evaluation of where you are when you are healthy, and then you go from there.
Well, you certainly have to be happy if you're John Gibbons at this juncture, or Ross Atkins, with a 20-26 record coming into today, despite what you've had to go through. And you're not just missing some players, you're missing your star players. 3 guys out of your rotation, your whole left side of the infield, the list goes on. And then Steve Pearce, who the Blue Jays were certainly counting on. He's gotten off to a slow start offensively, but I don't doubt for a second that his bat's going to come around. So these guys are slowly going to come back. These are going to be like nice trade acquisitions as they move forward and try to turn this thing around.
And everybody's in the same boat. You look at the other teams, they're all looking to add as well. And Ryan Braun, who did not start in this game, has grabbed the bat. He's come out on deck. A little bat in the pitcher's spot. Keon Broxton with a 2-2 count. Strike 3 call. Leon with 2 strikeouts in 3 batters he's faced. We mentioned the Blue Jays last night had 8 strikeouts out of their bullpen.
A good fastball here from Dominic Leone. He'll throw a 4 and 2-seamer. That looked like a 2-seamer sinking down. What a nice job by Luke Maile receiving this pitch. We talk so much about the job Russ Martin does. Luke does a very fine job receiving that pitch as well, and that's how you get that pitch from the home plate umpire. Well received.
Well, you saw Braun on deck, but after the strikeout, they have switched up to Nick Franklin. Switch hitter will bat in the pitcher's spot. So you'd imagine had Broxton reached base, Braun would have come up to hit. Franklin goes after the first pitch. Franklin is a pinch hitter, 5 for 19. Overall batting 189 for the season. Milwaukee won the 2 games these 2 clubs played early in the season at Rogers Center. Right back to the mound. Dominic Leone, 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the 8th. The Blue Jays holding on to an 8-4 lead. Brewers with the most flights from Canada. Take a swing at your WestJet Vegas surprise and book now for the whole team at westjet.com/Vegas. Now time for the schedule ahead. After this ball game, the Blue Jays will enjoy an off day on Thursday. And then the Texas Rangers are in town. You remember the Texas Rangers? The Blue Jays swept them in the Division Series Championship last year. And then Joey Votto, the Toronto native, and the Cincinnati Reds will be in town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then the New York Yankees start the month of June, a 4-game series. First 4 games, and the Blue Jays will head out west. We'll go to Oakland after that, but that's all coming up next. So make sure you check it out. Get your tickets now for that great homestand. Wiley Peralta comes on to start the 8th inning.
Peralta's pitched in 9 games. He's made 8 starts this season. His only career relief appearance prior to this year came back in his major league debut. Back in 2012, he pitched on Friday at Wrigley Field, pitched 2 scoreless innings in relief to pick up the win. See that ERA just under 6, though. It's been a struggle for him this season.
He becomes the 4th pitcher to work here. Garza started. Oliver Drake went 2/3 of an inning. Jared Hughes had a clean inning, and now Peralta. Smoke, Martin, and Coghlan for the Blue Jays. Smoke goes after the first pitch and hits a high fly ball to center. Broxton moves over, makes the catch. 1-out. Blue Jays have 8 runs on 8 hits, while the Brewers have 4 runs on 4 hits. There have been 6 home runs hit this afternoon, 4 by the Blue Jays and 2 by the Brewers. Russell Martin got the start at third base today, his 3rd start this season at third. Both he and Jose Bautista had looked very comfortable over at third. Jose started in last night's game and had a terrific double play. He started a double play in the 2nd, took a hit away from Manny Pena in the 6th as well.
Certainly would not know that either one of them is not a regular third baseman based on what we've seen, but that's just a testament to their athletic ability, doing a nice job over there.
Well, you know, we see them take ground balls there all the time during batting practice, so they're always out there having some fun, relaxing, staying sharp for situations just like these 2 games. And you know what? It's a good break for Russell. Get him out from behind the plate and the wear and tear. And now they have a competent and capable backup catcher that everybody is confident in, with Luke Maile filling in when Russell's not behind the plate.
And that's a big deal for John Gibbons. I think when he puts Luke behind the plate, he doesn't feel like he's losing much defensively, and that's no disrespect to Russ and the job that he does, but getting back on a regular basis, having Russ back there handling the pitching staff's been great, but I think Luke has been fantastic behind the plate.
Well, and the last couple of years, and it's not a knock on Josh Tolley, but he was a knuckleball catcher. He caught R.A. Dickey, and he didn't have that backup catcher like Maile to give Russell the off days, day game after a night game, 5 or 6 days in a row, give him a break, and now they do.
It's that flexibility that's critical. You fly in late to a city one night, maybe give Russ that day off, so now you can give him the day off that you want, or when Russ tells you he maybe needs one, even though he won't do that very often. But it allows a manager a little bit of flexibility, and that's good for the club.
Well, you have talked to Martin, as I have recently, and how good he feels right now. He's in real good shape as far as his body, how he feels. He got a little spring in his step, and with that, the bat will come around, and he will end up being the Russell Martin we know. Turns on that inside pitch.
And interestingly, with saying that, the way you keep him feeling that way is by being very guarded, and that's what Gibby has got to keep doing, and I think that's the approach that he's taken clearly on a day like this by not catching him behind the plate and putting him at third base.
Three-two pitch to Martin. Ground ball toward the 2nd. 2 away. Well, you know, Dusty Baker, the manager of the Nationals, always talks about it. He said, you better take a regular out and rest him before he gets tired, because if you allow him to get tired playing too much, then it'll take him twice as long to get his strength back and regroup.
That's a great point from a veteran manager. There's no question about that. And it's hard to pluck these veteran players out of the lineup, because if you ask most of them if they need a day, what do you think they're going to say? Of course they're not going to want to take a day off, but it can catch up to them.
Chris Coghlan has scored twice today, starting for the second straight day in left field. Coghlan singled and scored in the 5th, walked and scored in the 6th. He scored on the Ryan Goens grand slam home run. Coghlan tried to check his swing and went around. 0-2.
Peralta is a hard thrower. He'll get it up to 97 miles per hour, and he's got both breaking balls, the curveball and the slider. And when you have to be ready for 97, that's sometimes how you end up committing a little too quickly to a breaking ball. That's what velocity does in this game. You don't need to throw hard to be an effective pitcher. There's a little more room for error.
Right back up the middle. Coghlan with his second hit of the afternoon, a 2-out single. Drive of the game brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Well, Ryan Goens came to the plate after Chris Coghlan walked on 4 straight pitches, so he's looking for one thing. He knows that the pitcher has nowhere to put him, and Oliver Drake left a fastball up in the zone, middle in, and he got the barrel to it in a hurry. It put the Blue Jays up 8-1. Clearly a turning point in this game and an exciting moment for Goens and his teammates.
His first career grand slam, the second grand slam for the Blue Jays this season. Trying to hit another one.
That's the only problem.
He had a home run cut. So Goens now with 4 home runs and 19 RBIs. He's been a productive hitter. Another good cut. Goens' grand slam was the first grand slam by a Blue Jays shortstop since Troy Tulowitzki hit a grand slam on September 11th last year. Ryan filling in at shortstop and doing an admirable job.
That was a much better swing right there. You can take an aggressive swing, but when you keep that front shoulder in and stay on the ball, that's the right way to do it.
Peralta might have taken exception to those big wild swings.
Well, he wanted the high fastball. You see the target by Jet Bandy, but it was high, but it was also a little bit in, buzzing the tower of Goens.
There goes Coghlan, cut on and missed. That'll end the inning. Peralta strikes out Goens. The Blue Jays leave a runner on. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. 8-4 Blue Jays. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the rugged Honda Pioneer Off-Road family. Your adventure begins here.
Back here in Milwaukee, we're at Miller Park, and a new pitcher for the Blue Jays will be the lefty Aaron Loup. Dominic Leone with an inning and a third. The Blue Jays have now thrown 6 innings out of their bullpen in this series. They have not allowed a hit, and they have struck out 10.
They have been excellent, and Aaron Loup is coming on to try to continue that trend. Pitching in his 20th game, Aaron has struck out 16 batters in his 16 1/3 innings, but where he's gotten in trouble, 9 walks and 4 hit batters. He came in on Saturday at Camden Yards in Baltimore, gave up a bloop single to Chris Davis, who was the only batter he faced.
So Dominic Leone, an inning and a third, 2 strikeouts. Aaron Loup will try to continue this good stretch for the bullpen. Jonathan Villar, a switch hitter, batting right-handed for the first time this afternoon. He has walked and grounded out. He is 1 for 2 officially. Blue Jays wrapping up this 7-game road trip. 2 in Atlanta, 3 in Baltimore, and 2 here in Milwaukee. Jason Grilli starting to loosen up in the bullpen. Two and 2 now to the leadoff man in the 8th. Aaron Loup on to work the 8th.
Aaron staying very aggressive with the fastball here with a 4-run lead in the 8th inning. One thing he talked about this year is he's got his health back. His elbow was an issue last year, and he certainly said that that affected his command. But he's trying to tighten up that slider a little bit, and when he does that, he almost gives it that cutter mindset just to make it a little smaller. Jay Happ did the same thing and really tried to hone in on that pitch and make it more effective.
Well, there's a good changeup for the first out of the inning. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Jose Barrios for the Twins improves to 3-0 with a 166 earned run average as Minnesota holds on to win it 4-3. And Miguel Sano does another good job as he gets a couple of hits today. Actually, he was held hitless, but Vargas had 2 hits, Escobar with 2 hits, and Byron Buxton with 2 hits. Minnesota sweeps the Orioles in Baltimore.
Not too many people picking Paul Molitor's club to lead the Central at the end of May, I don't think.
Right now they're getting terrific pitching. That's a foul ball. You mentioned Irvin Santana off to a great start. With Santana at the top of their rotation, he's 7-2. Hector Santiago is 4-2. Bill Hughes is currently on the DL, but now Barrios has stepped up. He's 3-0. Well, they have done a nice job. Brandon Kinsler with his 13th save this afternoon. Check that. It's Kinsler's 12th save as they beat the Orioles. Minnesota's won 6 of their last 7 games. Thames fouls it back.
There's a good slider right there by Aaron Loup. That's where he wants that pitch against the left-hander. He's got that crossfire delivery, and that makes it very difficult on a left-handed batter. They really have to stay in there with the front side, but Aaron started that middle, had a break out towards that outside corner. A hitter cannot do a whole lot with that pitch down and away.
Foul tip, and Maile hangs on for the strikeout. Yet another strikeout for the Blue Jays bullpen. Loup has 2.
Down and away with the slider, and then this fastball. Luke wanted it out there, but it came back on the inner half, but that clearly tied up things, and that's just a lot to handle as a left-handed batter against a sidewinding leftier with that arm angle that Loup has. A couple of good mixes right there, and it's a nice call by Maile.
Number 3 hitter Hernan Perez playing in left field this afternoon. He doubled in the 6th. Stroman struck out 5. Leon 2 strikeouts. Now Loup has struck out the first 2 batters he's faced here in the 8th. Now, mind you, the Brewers lead the National League in strikeouts, but the bullpen for the Blue Jays has not allowed a hit in these 2 games. Fly ball, Bautista on the run, and he's going to make a nice running catch right on the edge of the warning track. Perez gave it a ride, but Bautista ran it down. We'll go to the 9th. The Blue Jays trying to make it 2 in a row here in Milwaukee.
There's Russell Martin. Would you love to have a signed bat from him? Maybe a trip to a Blue Jays road game. How about a VIP experience at Rogers Center? Rogers wants you to submit your baseball dream at RogersCelebrates.com, and your baseball dream could come true.
Sounds like a good idea, and you can come up with all sorts of different ideas, so make sure you check it out. Put in your wish. Russell Martin playing at third base today, almost like a day off for him. Luke Maile, the catcher. Luke had a big sacrifice fly in the 5th inning. Drove in the 3rd Blue Jays run of the afternoon.
Looks like they've cracked some windows open. I felt a little cool air, Buck. I don't know about you, but then I looked in it. They do have the ability to do that, which makes it very nice on a day like this.
Yeah, this is a very nice ballpark. It's a retractable roof stadium with those louvered windows out in center field, and they can open up to get fresh air in here, and it really creates almost like an outdoor atmosphere without the problems of getting rained on. Maile grounds out to short. That's the first out in the top of the 9th. We're going to see Dwight Smith Jr., who has just rejoined the ball club after Anthony Alford went on the disabled list this morning. So he is going to bat for the pitcher, Aaron Luke. Dwight got a chance to join the Blue Jays in Atlanta, his hometown, and he got into a ball game as a pinch hitter. He actually came in as a defensive player. Took over on Thursday in the outfield. So he is back with the ball club, and he's going to get his first big league hit. A single into center, and he's going to hustle it over to second for a double. So Dwight Smith Jr. gets his first big league hit a day after Anthony Alford got his. Congratulations to Dwight Smith Jr.
They'll make it a series of firsts as that baseball gets tossed out of action. We saw Alford earlier. Oh, and then look, somebody just threw it in the stands. I can't believe they did that. Oldest trick in the book. George Poulis flips that ball to the equipment manager, Jeff Ross, and that'll be a souvenir for Dwight Smith Jr. What a way to do it. A line shot in the left center gap. Is that any good?
That's awesome. Two youngsters getting their first hits here in Milwaukee. And they have come through the minor leagues, and now they both have a big league hit. Kevin Pillar, he's got a big league hit today. It was a home run.
Beautiful piece of hitting here by Dwight. Fastball out over the plate and down. He stays on that very well. He's thinking two out of the box, but once he rounded first, said I can give this a shot. Nice piece of base running. Good looking young player again by the Blue Jays.
Peralta spins but makes no throw to second. A one-out double for Dwight Smith Jr. Pillar hits it up the middle. They were playing him in the shift. Villar will go to first for the out, 2 away. On the play, Smith goes to third. Anthony Alford got his first big league hit last night as a pinch hitter in the 7th. And now Dwight Smith, he too is in the books as a big league hitter. Devin Travis extended his hit streak to 9 straight games. He had a long home run to center in the 6th. Oh, and 2. Fly ball to right. Travis is retired. That ends the inning, but another big moment for a young Blue Jay player. Dwight Smith Jr. pinch hitting, rips a double into center. His first big league hit comes here in Milwaukee.
Country Day is presented by Jack Links, and on Sunday, the first 20,000 fans will receive that Blue Jays cowboy hat. There's a pregame performance by Southtown on the WestJet flight deck, and their lead singer is Jordan Gibbons, the daughter of the Blue Jays manager. BlueJays.com for tickets. By the way, Dwight Smith Jr. got the word midnight last night. Hey, you're coming back up to the big leagues. He was outside of Atlanta with the AAA team on an 8:25 a.m. flight. Got to Milwaukee. He was bleary-eyed and gets his first big league hit. How about that, Buck?
Yeah, it doesn't take you long to go from AAA to the big leagues. I don't care where you are. Hey, you're going to the big leagues. Okay, I'll be there in a minute.
That's an easy call.
This is Jason Grilli trying to close things out, his 19th appearance of the season. Working to Travis Shaw. Shaw swings and misses. The third baseman for Milwaukee is 0 for 3.
Well, Jason worked on Friday night in Baltimore. I thought it's the best we had seen him. His stuff was electric. Struck out both Manny Machado and Chris Davis before Trumbo hit a bloop single, and then Wellington Castillo hit the walk-off home run in the 10th to win it 5-3.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought he threw the ball well, and then you ran into the red-hot Wellington Castillo, who that home run was his third of the series. But they're trying to get Jason back on track. 2-1. Now it's 2-2. With a win here this afternoon, the Blue Jays will go 4-3 on their road trip. They'll have tomorrow off. Texas Rangers will be in town Friday. Marco Estrada will open up against A.J. Griffin. On Saturday, Mike Bolsinger and Yu Darvish, and then Joe Biagini and Andrew Kashner. 3-game series against Texas. And Cincinnati comes to town. Joey Votto, of course, from Toronto. He's currently got a 26-game streak of reaching base safely. So he'll be there with the Reds on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Make a note, Wednesday is an afternoon game. And then the New York Yankees for 4. Line down the right field line. That's going to go to the wall. Bautista will play it off the wall, and Shaw will go into second with a leadoff double. For Shaw, that's his 13th double of the season. His first hit of the series.
Well, Shaw leads the team in that department, and he is enjoying a nice start to his season as a Milwaukee Brewer. He's on his way to some career highs, and talked about him a lot yesterday, and what a nice trade that turned out to be for the Brewers. They sent left-hander Tyler Thornburg to Boston, who has not even thrown a pitch yet.
Domingo Santana, the right fielder. Maile, boy, he gets hit again with the follow through, and Maile, he is taking a beating. I talked to him about this yesterday. He says, I like to get close to the batter and make those pitches look like strikes, but watch the follow through of this swing. Clips him right on top of the helmet. He is sneaking up in there behind the hitter in that big follow through, and Santana bops him right on top of the head.
Some of those big hitters, they have that big long follow through, and you can't do much about it. But as a catcher, you can't back up too much either, because then you're going to take pitches away from your pitcher. That's the last thing you want to do, and that's exactly what you're talking about. You try to stay in there and somehow try to avoid the follow through, but it's really not what you're focusing on.
Did you wear a helmet when you caught?
I wore that one right there, and I did take the one thing with those goalie masks is they'll protect you. I took a couple bats to the side of the head and it split my ear open, so I went to it briefly, but I didn't like the goalie style mask myself. I still like the traditional mask with the helmet on backwards. You didn't have a goalie style mask, did you, in your day, Buck?
No, I didn't. Another look at this follow through by Santana, and that bat comes down right on the top of that helmet.
You know, it's after the ball is foul tip too. You're just kind of stopping the play as a catcher, and then wham, it's like a tree just fell on your head.
You relax because the pitch has been fouled on. I didn't wear a helmet. I just wore my hat.
Your hat.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Oh, we didn't have helmets. Helmets were to hit him.
And if that happened to you, you'd be right back in there next pitch.
They wouldn't even come out and check on me. Little looper. Travis is going to make the catch. It's a line out to second base. One away. Yeah, now catchers take foul tips off the mask. Everybody runs out of the dugout.
Well, and we know there's the concussion protocol in all sports now, and Major League Baseball has it too, but you're right, it seems like every time a catcher is hitting the mask or every time an umpire is hitting the mask, and I'm not trying to downgrade the severity of what can happen, but I think you can probably wait until somebody calls you out. You're going to take a lot of foul tips. This game's not going to change, I don't think, much over the next 100 years either. You're going to take foul tips in the head.
The only time I would worry is if the catcher was headed to the other dugout. Then I might have to go check on him.
You started putting the wrong fingers down.
Oh, I've done that before. This is Jet Bandy, the catcher. One out, Blue Jays with an 8-4 lead, trying to make it 2 in a row and 3 in a row on the road. They won Sunday in Baltimore 3-1 over the Orioles. Marco Estrada picked up the 3rd win of the season. Danny Barnes last night the winning pitcher, his first major league win. The Blue Jays won 4-3 and they have an 8-4 lead. Jason Grilli, the 3rd reliever to work this afternoon. Dominic Leone, Aaron Loop, and now Jason Grilli. He pumps that fastball in there. The Blue Jays pitching staff has done a nice job of quieting the Brewer bats. Coming into this series, the Brewers had been swinging the bats well. That's popped up on the infield. Goens, the shortstop, calls for it and makes the catch. 2 down. The Brewers came into this ball game 2nd in the major league in extra base hits, tied for 3rd in doubles, tied for 3rd in triples, and tied for 4th in home runs. Very potent lineup, neutralized by the Blue Jays pitchers.
Well, Craig Counsell talked about that before yesterday's game when he was asked about the lineup and the depth, and he said, you know, there's just a lot of guys that are being good versions of themselves. And I thought that was a great line, because you're not asking anybody to be something they're not, but a lot of guys in his lineup have been who they are, and that's speaks volumes when you get guys up and down your lineup doing that, and that's explained a lot of the early production by this club offensively.
Eric Sogar, the shortstop, 0-for-2 with a walk. He now has come to the plate 41 consecutive plate appearances without striking out. Now he's a strike away from ending that streak. Jason Grilli trying to close things out for the Blue Jays here in the 9th. Ryan Goens with his first career grand slam, one of 4 home runs the Blue Jays have pounded out here today. Bautista had a solo shot, Travis and Pilar as well. Ground ball, that's a fair ball, and that'll do it. The Blue Jays win it. Grilli closes things out in the 9th, and Marcus Stroman picks up the win. Stroman improves to 5-2 as the Blue Jays take the 2 games here in Milwaukee.
Well, pretty good overall effort, all-around team effort. Tonight the Blue Jays did it with the long ball. Marcus Stroman pitches into the 6th inning, but Ryan Goens with the big blow. Blue Jays hit 4 home runs today, his grand slam. really separated. And then we have to talk about the bullpen again. They were excellent last night. They put up a bunch of zeros here. The Brewers got back in this game down 8-4, but the bullpen denied them of anything else.
Blue Jay bats have really come alive. The first time they've hit 4 home runs in the season this year in a game. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Friday from Rogers Center. Stay tuned. Here's Blue Jays Central.